All right, Nick, what do you think? Was Chris Ballard just sort of selling us on Jacoby Brissett? Is he really all of those things? What are expectations now for the Colts?
Well, listen, the Colts are devastated. And Jacoby Brissett, while he might be the best backup in football or formerly backup in football, I thought he was. He's obviously not Andrew Luck. But I don't think Chris Ballard's just selling things there. I think the Colts can, and I think they actually still will win the division. I don't think they are a Super Bowl contender anymore as I thought they were. I thought the Chiefs, the Patriots, and the Colts were clearly the three best teams in the AFC going into the season. They are removed themselves from that group. But this is a team that over the final 10 weeks last year had the #1 defense in football, had the #1 offensive line in football. Those are not because of Andrew Luck. He helps the offensive line. He can help the defense by extending drives, but that's because of the roster they were building. This offseason, they didn't go out and spend a ton of money in free agency, but they did acquire Justin Houston. They had all those second-round picks that they added to the roster. They had Paris Campbell. And I thought Jacoby, the situation he was in when we saw him in 2017, he was acquired on September 2nd. He played in week 1. He started week 2. That is, he's learning a totally new playbook, learning a new roster. He now has been under Frank Reich as long as Reich's been there. He got the entire offseason essentially as the starter because Luck's been dealing with this calf strain for so long. And that division, to me, is incredibly winnable. The Texans just lost their starting running back, and they still don't have an offensive line. The Titans' offense, which has lost Matt LaFleur this offseason, seems to be a mess. I'm not sure who the best quarterback on that roster is. And then there's the Jags, who, if they can get back to the defense they had a couple years ago with Nick Foles, could be an interesting team. But I like the Colts. I think the Colts can win 9 games, and I don't see anyone else in that division winning 10. So they're not the same team, obviously, but I still think they can, and I still think they will win the AFC South.
Yeah, there are a lot of things to like about the Colts, and defensively, it's one of the main things. And you mentioned the draft picks. There's 7 draft picks on defense this year, so they drafted. So hopefully, that influx of young talent will continue to build on what they've done. And offensively, one of the reasons you like Jacoby Brissett so much, or you like that quarterback situation so much, is if Andrew Luck got hurt, you did have the chance to go to Jacoby Brissett. And we've seen so many teams who get deep into the playoff hunt. Their starter gets hurt, the backup can't do it, and then we've seen the reverse of that with Philadelphia. But now with Jacoby being the starter, it's a radically different equation. And we can look at that first season, and he didn't have much lead time. The numbers have not been impressive for him in terms of whether it's
passer rating.
Yeah, take your pick.
Almost any number's below league average.
It's below league average. Now you're hoping, because of what Chris Ballard says and because of what you hear from other guys, that he does have that leadership. He does have that work ethic, that drive, those things, those intangibles that we talk about all the time, that's going to help him continue to grow in this system. As a team, as a whole, as an organization, they're doing so many positive things. This is just such a devastating blow so late in the process. It's going to be interesting to see how they recover.
I love to hear the confirmation with the general manager, Chris Ballard, what he said. And it was a confirmation with my good friend Bill Parcells talked about Jacoby. He's been mentoring him for approximately 5 years. Now, I saw Jacoby in high school because he's from South Florida. Went to a big-time high school, Dwyer, was a 5-star quarterback there and also a 2-sport star on their basketball team. So I had heard about his leadership. He signs to go to University of Florida. It doesn't work out there. He goes to NC State. Had been hearing great things about him behind the scenes there in New England before he was traded. So I would expect him to be better than your average quarterback. And the reason why, that offensive line, that wasn't there before when he was playing, and also the wide receiving core. They got Funches to be opposite of T.Y. Hilton. They brought Eric Ebron over, had a Pro Bowl season last year, coming over from Detroit. He's fulfilling his potential as a first-round pick. And they also have Paris Campbell, the second pick from the Buckeyes, second-round pick from the Buckeyes, that'll be playing for them. So he has more tools now than he had before, and with a good defense. So I think that I like them picking them for the division. I was thinking about Jacksonville, but if you think about roster, top to bottom, I like the Colts roster more so than I like anyone else in that division.
Well, I mean, they went from 15-1 odds to win to 30-1.
Oh, I don't think they can win the Super Bowl. Like to me, when you
that
lose,
seems like a big drop-off.
Absolutely. To me, there's different ways to evaluate teams in this league, and there is the barrier for entry of winning a division that doesn't have a great team in it is one level. The barrier of entry of winning 3 or 4 playoff games, all of which will be against good teams or great teams, is drastically different. So you can be a team that can.
That's why the odds reflect that.
And so you can be a viable contender to win your division or to even maybe win 11 games and still have almost no shot at winning the Super Bowl because of who you have to go through en route to getting there.
Okay, so tell me what Jacoby Brissett has to do to get better. What do you want to see from him? Where is he not a complete starting quarterback in this league?
Well, there's a couple things in the sample sizes from earlier. He's got to get the ball out of his hands quicker, which Indy was doing since Frank Wright has taken over and Andrew Luck came back. He's also got to be more accurate with the football. And that means, like, when you're getting zone, I want the ball on the right number. Typically, inside zone, the ball's going to be coming my inside so the receiver can react to the defender. Man-to-man, put the ball in front of people so they can get catch and run. And when they blitz you, which they're going to do, man, you got to take the heart out of the defense by taking those big shots down the field and hitting them with a higher percentage. Those 3 things right there, and it would lead to him being, which I believe is above average NFL quarterback as a starter.
To me, the most important thing is the level of sacks that he took. And we talked about this with Andrew Luck. When you play a young player, when you play an inexperienced guy, they're going to take sacks at a higher rate than an older guy because they don't really understand the cost-benefit ratio. So now here we are, 2 years down the track. What type of decision-making is he going to have when it comes time to that? And the O-line has gotten better. The running game has gotten better. The supporting cast has gotten better. So I'd want to see a significant amount of progress in the amount of times that he's either being hit or being sacked, because the next step is much further back.
You mentioned 2017. They didn't have many things where he was above league average that he was very good at. The one part of his game that statistically, even with the supporting cast, lack of offensive line, was excellent in 2017 was his completion percentage and success rate on deep passes. He had that. Now, T.Y. Hilton probably deserves a lot of credit for that. He's been great at that his whole career, but he was very good at that aspect. Where he was the worst in the league was sack percentage. 10% of his dropbacks ended in a sack. Some of that was the offensive line, but a lot of that was how long he held on to the football. I think Bill Barnwell pointed out he held on to the ball one of the highest rates of any quarterback in the league. So the offensive line will be better. He's got to get the ball out quicker. That deep pass, if that's still there, because Paris Campbell helps with that, obviously T.Y. Hilton is still there as well, I think he can be a middling quarterback. And in that division, there's only one, to me, excellent quarterback. That's Deshaun Watson. And he's going to be running for his life the whole season. So if they were in a different division, I'd feel differently. In the AFC South, I think they can still win it.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.